Hi guys and welcome to the circus. So today I'm going to showcase another fun deck for you guys using one of the new grade 3s we have in set 6, which is Nightmare Doll Amy. You know me, I'm a huge Nightmare Doll fan. When I knew that Nightmare Doll Amy was coming out in Vanguard Zero, I was really into it because it seems like a really fun deck to play. It's not the best, it's not competitive, but it's just simply a really fun deck to play. When it pops off really well, but if not, it's just a plain old brick deck that can't do much when it doesn't work. So without further ado, let me show you guys the deck right over here. Okay, so as you can see here, there's not a single triple rare in this build. The only high rarities here are the double rares, especially on the PGs and Crimson Beast Tamers. Okay, let me start explaining the list. First of all, we run Smiling Presenter. I ran Smiling Presenter because it's better than Hades Ringmaster because you get to check the top 10 cards instead of using Hades Ringmaster, which just soul charges a random card. Also, I chose Smiling Presenter because I don't want to use Counter Blast because our win condition relies on Nightmare Doll Amy's Mega Blast. And also, you kinda sometimes need a specific card in the soul to work, so Smiling Presenter gives you an option to fetch those from the top 10 cards. Aside from the 4 PGs, we run 3 Skull Jugglers to Soul Charge. Amy can Soul Charge on her own, but sometimes you want your previous units that you rode to stay in the soul so you can call them out when you do your Mega Blast. So you sometimes need random soul that you don't really need that much or you have multiple copies of, so that when you use your Mega Blast, those first ridden units that you have in the soul will stay in there when you do your combo. Next, we run 3 Turquoise Beast Tamers because we run the Crimson Beast Tamer engine. Same reason as we run Jumping Glen because they're both 10k boosters. Speaking of Jumping Glen, we also run 3 of her because when she's called from Soul, she gains plus 3k. And that moment there that you called her from Soul is the only moment that you'll get to finish the game. So that's about it for the grade 1s. For the grade 2s, we run the 4 Crimson Beast Tamers for the engine. We need at least one of her in the soul to make your columns big. Basically, the idea of this is that you want to have 2 other columns that can hit over defensives after you use your Amy skill. So Crimson Beast Tamer engine is the way to go. Next, we run 4 Nitro Jugglers because, again, soul charging in this deck can be quite useful when you, for example, don't have a copy of Crimson Beast Tamer, or you just want to have a lot of soul so that when you soul blast, your previous ridden units won't be soul blasted when you do your Mega Blast. Next, we run 4 Barking Cerberus, our 10k base. Again, we need to make huge columns, so a 10k base is fine. Also, it helps you survive in some scenarios. He is a good ride target besides from Crimson Beast Tamer because having a 10k base Vanguard adds a layer to your defense early game. Finally, we run 1 Jumping Jill to round off with the grade 2s because she's the only other unit that can have more power because when she's placed from Soul, she gains plus 3k just like Crimson Beast Tamer. But sadly, I can't run her more because there's slot issues, but I'm thinking right now that you can cut 1 Nitro Juggler for another copy of Jumping Jill if you want to, and that's that. Moving on to the grade 3s, we run 4 Barking Manticores because again, we run the Crimson Beast Tamer engine and Barking Manticore is just basically a 13k beat stick that helps to get over defensives when you have a Jumping Glen or a Turquoise Beast Tamer at the back. If you run the Beast Tamer engine to the maximum, you need to run Barking Manticore as well. We run 4 Dark Lord of Pale Moon because when he's boosted, he gains plus 3k, a 23k attacker with a 10k base booster, makes amazing numbers as well. 1 Midnight Invader because another 12k attacker, makes nice numbers as well. And finally, the star of the deck, which is Nightmare Doll Amy for our main ride target and your only ride target that you want to ride. How this deck works is using her Mega Blast. When this unit attack hits the Vanguard, you Soul Blast 6 and Counter Blast 4 to put all of your rear guards into your soul and call 5 cards from your soul. By the looks of it, it's really fun. I've done it a couple of times and it's really fun to watch and do once it pops off. But if it doesn't, it just plainly sucks. But you know, you can't blame it. It's just a matter of luck, RNG, and it's a budget deck. So it's just basically for fun and entertainment because we're a circus. We need to entertain. So the way this deck works is that you want to push your opponent damage at least at 4 damage before you do your Mega Blast. and you want to have 4 counterblast face up. That is why we don't run any other counterblast units, so that when we go to our Amy turn, it's pretty easy to fulfill. The only throwback here is that she needs to soul blast 6 cards. That is why we run a lot of soul chargers, because the moment you have all your pieces in your hand, like if you have multiple copies of 12k attackers, 10k boosters, when you call them out, and when you use Narmadal Amy, you will soul blast first. Your units will go back to the soul, and then you can call them back out again for another 2 attacks. Sometimes you don't really care about your soul because all your units are in your hand, but if you have the units in your soul that you need, aside from the ones in your hand, you wanna stack your soul until the first units that you have in the soul are the ones that will remain when you soul blast 6. Again, this is just a fun deck. It's really cute. It's it's fun, it's entertaining. It sucks when it doesn't pop off, but if it does, you'll have a ton of fun just looking at your board, scooping everybody, and then calling them out once again to perform and to finish off the game. So basically, if it pops off, your opponent needs 2 PGs in hand to survive. If they don't, you can pretty much win. You need units that can get over defensives because you need your Amy to hit. If they checked a defensive trigger and you don't have enough units that can get over them, you're done for. It's a waste of an ability, and basically after using your Amy, you don't have anything else to do. So yeah, that's about it for the list. And finally, we run 9 draws and 4 heals because we need to draw into our pieces. You don't need stands here because after checking with your Vanguard swings, everybody just goes to soul then call back out. You don't need stands, you can probably run crits. Oops. You can probably run other triggers as well if you like to, but again, your Amy needs to hit, so checking a crit during your opponent's 4 damage situation, Amy won't hit if they have a PG, so you can't do your combos. So the only trigger that can work here is your draws. It will only be used in the early game because when you check a trigger on your grade 3 turn, the power is just completely wasted because all your units will go back to soul anyway. It's not a big deal because you're aiming for game, but at least you guys know that trigger checks in this list won't actually matter that much. Okay, for more budget options, and I'm talking about extremely budget friendly, you can bump up 4 Glens and just run 4 Jills instead of the Crimson Beast Tamer engine, and bump up all your soul chargers perhaps if you don't have a complete playset of Crimson Beast Tamer. This list can just be purely rares and commons. Like instead of just having Manticores, you can run 4 Midnight Invaders and a Pharah as your backup ride target if Amy doesn't pop off. But in my opinion, going with the Crimson Beast Tamer engine in this list is the way to go. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments about this list. It's really fun to do. If you managed to try this list out, tell your stories in the comments on how it paid off for you. If you have any suggestions on what to run, please leave it down in the comments. If you want another budget deck, if you like to suggest another list or another budget deck that you want to see, please leave it down in the comments because I'm willing to do it. I'm also considering on showcasing my Dark Irregulars lists. Let me know in the comments if you want to see that. And yeah, hope you find this interesting. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you next time.